welcome to Reads Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. Please check us out at the spidermancrawlspace.com. Well guys, I'm here to review the first few parts of Hunted, the new Kraven the Hunter storyline going on in Spider-Man. So much, we're also going to review two of the tie-ins. So let's get to the pros here on the main part of the story before we go on to the tie-ins. So the first of all is this is I really like the setup for this story, really what Kraven is trying to do. He is setting up kind of his legacy again. Something that happened in the original Kraven's Last Hunt is when he was done, he had felt the hunt had finished, and his children were now meant to go on and do that. And of course, as we know, that kind of got lost in between being copycats and not quite being like Kraven to the fact they brought him back. And then the character kind of drifted. Here, Kraven's really talking about really what is the natural of the hunt. And he knows himself between overhunting, poaching, and everything. Things have not quite been what it was when he first came hunter. And if you think about it, when the character was created about 50 years ago by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, there was a little difference in hunting and different laws back in Africa. And I like the fact that they actually touch upon that with Kraven. And it's very interesting too, his new son Pasha, who's technically a son clone of everything, is really a nice little take because he really is like a younger, more of what Grim Hunter and Aloysia Kravinoff were in their stories back in the late 90s. So it's kind of a nice little piece. Also, I like the setup about why he was catching all these supervillains and why he was talking to himself their animal theme, but they don't embrace who they really were. And I like the fact he doesn't really just keep it as supervillains, he actually keeps it as who they are, such as Puma and Gibbon, which we'll talk about a little later, and also what his plans were for Black Cat and Billy Connors, the Lizard's son. It's a really nice little piece, and I really like how the story is structured, especially Spider-Man's fight with Pasha and him losing to the hallucinating, seeing the problems with MJ and the fact that he's got to fight through, and the fact this is not going to be an easier story. It would be easier if all the supervillains help Spider-Man out, defeat a common cause with the cyber hunters and everything. No, these guys are bad guys for a reason. They're all in it for themselves. They're more willing to backstab each other, even though some members of the Savage Six are part of this. But I think it's a really nice setup, and having Spider-Man not being himself, not to mention the plot that is going on right now with MJ and the Sentidemon, as we're seeing him actually narrating and watching everything from behind, is really a cool setup. And I really like the use of the supporting cast members with Black Cat and Billy and MJ about what's going on as Peter's trying to deal with all this. So I'm really looking forward to see what happens, as well as parts of why the Avengers aren't involved in this is really good. The cons of the story, unfortunately, is a lot of it falls on the artwork. Humberto Ramos is a hit or miss. Part of the story, first part with the battle between Pasha, sorry. Too many members here of the Kravinoff family. Guys, I'm not editing that out. Is really nicely done. I really like the fight scene and everything, but I think when they're really into the domed area of Central Park with the hunts going on, the artwork's a hit or miss with Ramos's art. Also, some of the tie-ins coming years, like Taskmaster, Backstab, Black Cat, we knew that was coming forever, especially when they did the animal theme ideas, and we knew that was coming. Also, I like the fact that they're trying to build a little bit more between Black Cat, reassuring her thing, and the supporting cast, but there's some problems here, what really Kraven's kind of doing. I know it's part of the mystery of why he's kind of set this up to be like not the world's most dangerous game, hunting humans, but actually trying to get a piece for these rich people, which even Kraven says they don't really know what I'm doing. So he's got an interesting plan. Going into the pros also to the tie-in issues with Black Cat and Gibbon. First of all, these are so good. One thing when you have tie-ins with storylines these big, they tend to not really deal with anything. And I have to say that Nick Spencer says he's writing all these with Black Cat and Gibbon are really well done. First with Black Cat, finally explains exactly what was going on in her head from the memory wipe, why she kind of went to the queen pin of crime, and how she's kind of gotten back to who she was as kind of, thief with a heart, but still being the good person in general and doing the right thing, not just trying to score the money, which even Kraven brings up with her when he captures her and tells her that he's bait for Spider-Man, which she said herself, like, I am no one's damsel in distress, which I really like. The character work is so good. It feels like Black Cat has gotten back to where she's going to be, and I know she's getting her own series, which is really nice. The Gibbon issue, wow. I know who the Gibbon was years ago, and you almost want to cry. You feel so sorry going through Gibbon's history of why he ended up a supervillain when he just wanted to be a good guy, him being teased, his parents being kind of backstabbed, yet trying to be the good guy, and then things going off. And the way Vulture and the other bad guys use him, and it's a really heartbreaking story. I think it's some of the best work that's been done on the Gibbon since Legion of Losers back when J.M. DeMantis, writer of Kraven's Last Hunt did it, so it's really good. Con-wise is, there's not a lot. I think Gibbon was an interesting choice. I get why Nick Spencer used the character for his history and actually where he's coming from. As he says, he knows himself, he's not the bright one, but how he's fighting things through. But I think there's a little bit too. The artwork was really nice actually for Gibbon, and I really loved everything with Black Cat. I think the problem with both storylines is their tie-ins. They are important, they make sense, but you really wonder, is the Gibbon actually going to do anything going forward about, especially what happens to the ending. And as for Black Cat, I feel like it's definitely getting ready for that revenge model with Hammerhead after everything happens. But I got to tell you right now, Hunted is off to a fantastic start. I didn't think I was going to be this excited about it, but I think the buildup that Nick Spencer's been doing for the last year to the storyline is going to be worth it. And I'm looking forward to where we go in the next couple parts, including the Lizard tie-ins, as well as the extra one that is being done to finish up Hunted and the Scented Demon mystery. On that note, guys, I am going to give this whole story right now a solid A. Not an A+, not A-, but I'm going to give an A to the whole storyline that includes the tie-in issues because they actually matter. Hit or miss, they matter. So I'm giving the whole storyline an A. And on that, guys, I'm going to head out of here. I'll see everybody in a couple of weeks here for the next half of Hunted. And